This is the 5th video in a series for this month where I'm making some gifts for my friends and family, and I thought I'd take you along for the ride. If you want to see the other art gifts I've made, I'll link the rest down below, or hopefully have a playlist link with all of them together. We'll see how lazy I am when editing. Today's is for my best friend. There's actually 2 paintings today because she asked for decor that had the sort of cottagecore aesthetic. If you don't know what cottagecore is, it's basically an aesthetic that idealizes rural countryside life, living off the grid, using what nature provides. So there's a lot of making things by scratch, particularly clothes, furniture, bread, candles, etc., etc. And also a lot of greenery and plants, which I know my friend likes a lot. Her apartment is literally filled with plants. So I'm painting some mushrooms and leaves and flowers, and yeah, on brand. You know those posters that show old scientific drawings of plants? Yeah, I'm using those for my references, a bunch of them. So I painted the paper a light terracotta color to make it look aged, and then I sketched the mushrooms before I started filming so that we could just jump right into it. So this first piece was painted a couple weeks ago, and although I had recorded it, I wasn't intending to make it into a video, but some scheduling and planning changed around on me, and I decided I'd make the video after all. This painting didn't take me very long though, which is why I made a second one, and my friend has a lot of wall space that needs to be filled up with the decor that she asked for, so too it is. I met my best friend, storytime by the way, when I was 10 and had just entered public school. That's right, I didn't go to school until I was 10. I was homeschooled beforehand, I still had schoolwork, got an education, but I didn't go into the public school system until 5th grade. And as you might expect, I was the weird kid. I didn't make friends very easily, I was socially awkward, I didn't understand classroom etiquette. Everything except for the actual schoolwork was just plain hard. I didn't get it, and it was kind of terrible, but oh well. And the funny thing is, I don't know what happened that made us become best friends. I want to say it was because our classroom had these assigned seats that were switched around every week, and one of the first weeks I was sitting next to her or across from her maybe, and I don't know, something happened and we just hit it off. There was a project or something, but I'm not 100% sure, and I doubt she remembers either, because neither of us have great memories. Point is, we've stayed close through all these years, and I don't know what I'd do without her. So, to show my love, I'm painting her a bunch of various fungi. Ah, true love. As I said, this first piece was made a few weeks ago, and I used my largest round brush that I have, a size 12. I think this was good practice for controlling how much water I use, because that's really something I struggle with when it comes to watercolor, is using too much. I clearly struggled a bit with the tiny mushroom at the top left, but I don't think I did too badly with the rest. The thing is, this brush holds an astounding amount of water. I could probably fill a bathtub if I squeezed all the water out of this brush. Not really, but it really feels like it, you know? Despite that, I was still able to get some pretty fine detail. I should have switched to a smaller brush to do that, but in the moment, I didn't have any other brushes out, and that's my bad. I think the most fun part with these was adding the blues and purples as shadows. I've found that I've become a really big fan of that technique recently, and I want to be able to do that with any sort of color scheme, but I'm going to take my time with that and experiment a little more until I get more comfortable and confident. Now, I had to cut it out because, my head was showing in 80% of the frame, but I did add some pretty shaky brush lettering of the scientific names for these kinds of mushrooms in the opposite corners. And when I say pretty shaky, I really mean terrible. I'm not a brush lettering sort of person, but I'm trying to learn. I'm just very fidgety, and it's hard to get crisp, clean lines when your hands are just waving around. I also outlined the mushrooms with this Kuretake Bimoji brush pen to help give the painting some shape, splattered some light red across the page because I thought it looked cool, and called it good. Ta-da! Okay, one down. On to the next one. This one I recorded from two angles, the overhead one you see now coming from my phone and the side overhead that comes from my webcam. I'm trying out multiple angles and practicing editing and splicing them together, but I'm still not sure what I think about it. The webcam still for some reason really washes out the color and it's kind of annoying, but let me know what you prefer. So this piece started in a similar way. I painted the entire paper with a light wash of this sage green color instead of the terracotta like the previous one. I mostly did this because I didn't want the two to be too similar since they were both going to have a bunch of mushrooms as the main subject. But with this one, I tried to keep the color further out to the corners because the stalks of the mushrooms tend to be fairly light and I didn't want too green an undertone to any of them. At first, I focused solely on this wide boy in the upper corner with some brown, yellow, and blue. But after this, it becomes a bit harder to follow because I don't just go mushroom by mushroom. I went by what colors I currently had mixed at the moment. So any mushrooms that had a similar composition to this one got their stalks colored first. Then I added gray to other stalks, then I went back and added reds to the tops of some, and then back to the first set of mixed colors for others, and then I repeated kind of non-sequentially from there. Eventually, I even blended the red and the gray to get a new set of other blended colors. I threw in some purples on their own, some pinks for the flowers, different greens for the leaves and stems. The whole thing was a bit of a mess, honestly. The only real mistake that I made was when I accidentally set my hand down on a wet mushroom and smeared the watercolor at one point, but it looked more like a splatter on the paper, so thankfully I could just add splatter at the end like I did with the previous piece. It makes the two pieces feel more like a set that way, you know? So, happy accident. So, since I've basically summarized what happens, I'm going to just let some music play while the painting continues, and I'll come in at the end to talk a little bit more before the ending of the video. I'm back! One thing I wanted to note was the red that I used, because I used a different red than I did in the first painting. It granulated a lot, and what I mean by that is like the pigment, I see it in watercolor kind of often. I don't know how to describe it. You see the tiny little like specks of pigment and it kind of separates. And some people like that, some people don't. I personally think it's kind of annoying, and I thought it was really weird that this paint did that, because none of the other paints in the set that I have do this, at least not that I'm aware of. So it was interesting to work with. Anyway, I inked this one like I did the first one, but I kept the lines more loose and vague and disconnected to sort of match the chaos of all the extra pieces. Then I signed it, and I made sure to zoom in a little more so that you guys could see the tape peel a little better. You're welcome. Thank you all so much for watching this video if you made it this far. I only have one more video in this series before Christmas Day, and I'm excited to post it. So if you enjoyed this one, please give it a like and comment what you thought about it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, as I upload every Tuesday and Friday. I try not to have all of my videos be speed paints, but these bigger projects take longer, and so the speed paint format makes more sense. Also, there will be a video on Christmas Day. I won't have it recorded or edited that day. It'll have been done earlier, but there will be one, and hopefully if it gets here on time, it will be about the gift that I got. So I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to use it. But that's it for today's video. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.